And if it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy. Hard copy is a presentation of the McKinney Media Group. Copyrights 2016. All rights reserved. The views, statements, and opinions of guests expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without express written consent of the producers, the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network. Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, my friends, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians. We, the people, must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, we bring it to you fully, the whole 9 yards. NIB. We've got the officials here today as well. How soon is payday in NIB as far as some Bahamians is concerned? You'll know the full length of the story in just a minute.
Making travel plans? Be sure that those plans are hassle-free. BOB's prepaid Visa card can take you around the world. Getting your prepaid Visa card is easy. There are no credit checks. It's accepted at 25 million locations worldwide, and it's safer than carrying cash. Visit any BOB branch to apply for your BOB prepaid Visa card today. BOB, your bank of solutions.
BOB, 25 years and going strong.
Executive Printers. We're professionals. At Executive Printers, we do not participate in trash talk. We concern ourselves with the accuracy and security of your laser check. That is why we put 15 securities on your laser checks. This is not trash. This is fact. It makes fraud almost impossible. Call us today at Executive Printers at 393-5011 or email us at sales@epbahamas.com. That's sales@epbahamas.com. Executive Printers. Laser checks. We do them right.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL, seize your future.
Our Prime Minister should not still be sitting somewhere wherever he is. I had such great hopes for him the second time around.
The Prime Minister has not only not resigned or talked about resignation, he's scolded those people who voted no.
He's had 2 failed referenda in the Westminster system. Honorable men, and the honorable thing to do is to resign.
We don't have the Westminster system in the Caribbean.
What you mean we don't have a Westminster system?
40 years.
Decency would suggest that he resigns.
Most of the PLP supporters are of the view that if Perry Christie doesn't lead them into the next election, not only is the PLP going to lose, they figure the country's finished.
And the Bahamian people should be vociferously calling upon the Prime Minister to go.
He's almost like Jonah. You have to throw him overboard in order to get some results.
So glad Mr. Ingram took the high road. Then his party needed him most. He abandoned them. At least he did the respectful thing. He figured, well, I've lost this election. The people have lost confidence in me. Let me go on my merry way.
He's disappointed to know that the people have woken up and have become aware, to the extent of expressing it, that they have the power.
the honorable thing and the only thing he should do is to leave.
It might be in my party's interest for him to sit there. It's not in the national interest. And I would say, for heaven's sake, man, go.
It is Tuesday, the 5th day in the month of July, 2016, as you battle the congested city streets. In drive home traffic, we have fair skies, sunny for you, 90 degrees right now, 81 for the overnight low. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We're brought to you today by Rock with Doc at Christie Park. We're also brought to you by NIB, Straight Talk, Straight Up today. People's Movement Committee to re-elect Dr. Hubert Minnis, Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory, number 59 Montrose Avenue. Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Cybertech Career College, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Kalina Insurance for comprehensive coverage, Super Wash for 10 locations, open 24/7, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, the all Bahamian supermarkets, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Claridge Wolf Road, Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. CFAL, Kalina Financial Advisors Limited. Also, Executive Printers, Jerome Avenue, Henry F. Store, the Light People on Mackey Street. Buddies, Wings and Greens on Fox Hill Road. McKinney Media Group for the best results in PR and advertisements. Friends, today on the show, we've got lots to talk about because I've got some officials from NIB, and they are here to set the record straight. I call it Straight Up NIB today because we want to find out what's going on, who has what, and who's doing what, and when the people are going to be paid. That's my concern today from the Hard Copy Nation. So tell your friends, listen up. You may be on the payroll. We'll see. Now, let's just get something started here before I bring my guests in, and this will take a minute before we run to another break and bring our guests in, because today NIB is going to let us know from an official point of view. Never mind any government press release or so, from an official point of view. Never mind what you would have read in the papers. From an official point of view today, from the people on the inside, we will get you on the right track, because the bottom line is when the people are going to get paid. And if we have a new IT situation at NIB that's going to be fixable soon, and what is the solution? Are they going to run these things parallel, the new one with the old one? What's going to happen? What's the big plan? And are we really getting upset about a storm in a teacup? Because maybe everything is under control, and maybe those who had things under control are no longer in control. We'll get to that. First, I've got to get to this. Did you hear what happened today? You didn't. Well, today, Dr. Minnis had to move his Rock with Doc lounge from Our Lady's Catholic Church on DeVoe Street because some people put a spoke in his wheel. Of course, you know who the people are, the usual individuals who are challenging him. You see, they had their thing all set for some part of Bay Street. They're launching tomorrow night as well. And they had that thing down in the, the bourgeois area of town, where the rich and the famous hang out. This is my information. And as a result of that, Doc had his own over the hill down in DeVoe Street, somewhere there off East Street. And what happened was that some people got wind that Doc was launching tomorrow night as well. So what they did, they made a complaint to the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church, not wanting to be a part of any, stuff that could be considered political, and they decided to uninvite Doc to do it at that place. In a way, saying that, no, they don't want to get in that, so maybe he had to find another venue. But that didn't stop Doc and his people who are rocking. They have decided that, we're going to go down to Christie Park, and that's where they're going to be. So Christie Park is where they're going to have their launch officially tomorrow night over there in Christie Park, and I think it starts somewhere around 7:30. Now, that has cost a lot of things to get topsy-turvy in a way, including new commercials and new announcements and all kinds of stuff that's happening right now as we talk. And so that's why I'm telling you this, because it is news in a way that this campaign and this showdown for the leadership of the F&M has taken on new levels of how you do things. And this could be a nasty fight, it appears, Because if the power brokers on the other side are able to convince those in the church to not let this happen, well, you know, Doc is a kind of cool fella. He didn't make any noise. Doc says, okay, if that's the deal, he'll find someplace else. And he did. And so for those of you who want to rock with Doc, it's Christie Park. All right. It won't be over at a ladies' primary school or a ladies' Catholic church school, that grounds over there on DeVoe Street. It won't be there. It goes to Christie Park. Thought I'd tell you that and also show you that if Doc is believing that it's a walk in the park or anybody else is, stand by, because these guys are doing all kinds of stuff. When I say these guys, his opponents, they're doing all kinds of stuff to be as deliberate and whatever else they want to be at this particular time in their showdown for the leadership. We wish them all the best of luck. We'll see how things go at the end of the day. But Doc is feeling good. He spoke with me a couple of minutes ago, and he is happy as a lark. He's on his way to do what he has to do and see if he can retain the leadership of the Free National Movement. And so I thought I'd tell you that. Otherwise, some other things are happening here that's quite interesting, and that is that Christie and those are going to have to find a way to sell the Bahamian people an idea. And I did say sell an idea because, you know, sometimes people can sell an idea and they can sell a dream. But they're starting this talk about the corresponding banks. And I want you to hold on to that. I'm not going to talk about it today, but you know the topic because I've been talking about it. Only myself, I believe, have been talking about it in recent times on public radio about my concerns from the time they did that gambling referendum and they made gambling legal in the Bahamas. My concern I had expressed as a result of those concerns by the commercial banks who had been saying, we don't know if we should collect this money because we may get some trouble from the corresponding banks. You remember I was telling you about that? Well, that has come to a head. Christie and those alluded to it yesterday as to why they have been downgraded. Hello. Hold on to that. I'm going to talk about that later on this week, I hope. Today, we've got a full slate, so we can't get into it. But just to say that the correspondent banks, we never got any official information from the Attorney General as to what the end of the day results were with the concerns of the local commercial banks like Royal and Commonwealth Bank, because it was a big concern. Who's calling me at this time? It was a big concern when they were talking about they don't want to get caught up in this thing about the funds that they have from illicit means, quote unquote, gambling. They were concerned about that. Remember that. Now we're going to revisit that, and I'll play some sound bites from that later on this week, we hope, if we can get to it. But we have a full schedule of things. I don't know, but it's big, and I want you to hold on to it. The correspondent banks, Christie and those started to mention it. And this is where the trouble is. And that's one of the reasons why the outlook is not so pretty as we are fast plunging to junk bond status. Hold on to that. We've got NIB today, and sufficient unto the day are the troubles thereof. And the troubles that are in existence today is whether or not Harry and Sally and Mary and JoJo gonna get paid their benefits, their pension, their maternity leave from NIB if the system is still clogged up. We'll find out in a minute. You hang on to your hat. We're coming back. This is Hard Copy, working for you, the people, every day. Is what we do. 325-0235 or 6. 325-0242-043. 325-0252-053. WhatsApp and texting today, 376-9234. And you can follow us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com. Cable top box 970. Tune in radio, iPad, iPhone, any Android, you'll get us. Follow us on Facebook, Hard Copy, and on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. This is Hard Copy. NIB up next, the whole 9 yards in just a minute.
Bahamas, get ready for the launch of Dr. Hubert A. Minnis' Rock with Doc campaign. Join us this coming Wednesday, July 6, 2016, starting at 7:30 p.m. live on Christie Park, Nassau Street. Come and hear from the leader of the Free National Movement, Dr. the Honorable Hubert A. Minnis, as he shares his plans to create a new vision for a new Bahamas. There will be special guest speakers, live entertainment, and a special Rock with Doc Jokernu Rush House. That's the official launch of Dr. Hubert A. Minnis' Rock with Doc campaign. This coming Wednesday, July 6, 2016, at Christie Park on Nassau Street, starting at 7:30 p.m. Be there. This ad is being sponsored by Campaign Minnis 2016.
Commonwealth Bank is giving you more convenient, reliable, and personal banking solutions, and now full-service Saturday banking at its Wolf Road branch. That's right, 7 Saturday banking locations to better serve you. Commonwealth Bank Plaza Branch, Mackey Street, Oaksfield Branch, Prince Charles Drive Branch, Cable Beach Branch, Golden Gates Branch, the Mall Drive Branch, Freeport Grand Bahama, and now Wolf Road Branch. Commonwealth Bank is open 6 days a week to better serve you, and every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Toting is a Bahamian tradition. Sometimes we tote to, but mostly we tote from. And the best place to tote from is Super Value and Quality Supermarkets with weekly specials like
Ronzoni Ready Cut Macaroni 14 ounce 99 cents. Libby's Whole Kernel Corn or Sliced Beets 15 ounce $1.19. Chef Boyardee Spaghetti and Meatballs 15 ounce $1.09. Fresh peaches 99 cents per pound. And turkey wings 59 cents per pound.
Super Value and Quality Supermarkets, your toting headquarters.
Your health is priority. Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory is here to serve you. DNA testing, cancer screening, HIV and drug testing, and complete physicals. Reliable results in a timely manner. Certified professional, confidential, and friendly staff. Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory, committed to working with our community to improve health and wellness. Number 59 Montrose Avenue. Ample parking available. Open weekdays 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Telephone 677-4200 or 1.
Parents, there's no need for your kids to be bored this summer. Bring them to the best academic summer camp in town. Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp for kids. Young adults in primary, junior, and senior high school. Reinforcing what was taught in school. Maths, reading, language arts, and computers. Fun-filled field trips and sporting activities. Grab me a break. Enroll your child into Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp. 3-224-223. That's 3-224-223.
In 3 years, I'm expanding my business.
In 5 years, we're building our dream home.
You can speak with confidence when you know you've invested wisely. With superior rates from BOB's B-Dollar Investment Certificate, your money grows according to your schedule to provide extra funds just when you need them.
In 10 years, she's going to college.
B-Dollar Investment Certificate. Sow a little, reap a lot. From BOB, your bank of solutions.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, heat and cooling water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them on 242-356-0249.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family affairs and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
Hey everyone, traveling this summer?
Yes!
Shopping?
Yes!
School expenses?
Yes!
Need an easy way to pay for it all?
Yes!
I thought so. Then you love a personal loan or credit card from Commonwealth Bank. Get fast approval on the funds you need with low rates and a $100 bonus. Plus, enter to win $5,000. Come to Commonwealth Bank today. See you there?
Yes!
Fantastic.
A new day has dawned in our beloved Bahamas. We the people must remain steadfast, vigilant, and committed as the keepers of the gate. Unless God keeps the city, the watchman layeth awake in vain. This is a people's movement, a new godly inspired direction for the people of the new Bahamas to rebuild the walls of the city. It is time for the reconstruction of our country. Your helping hand is required for this recovery. Welcome to the People's Movement, a new beginning for a new Bahamas.
And I am John Pinder, ready to put my shoulders to the wheel for our Bahamas to secure economic freedom for all.
For more information, contact info@thepeoplesmovement.net.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit cfal.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL. Seize your future.
I'm changing the quality of life of individuals. I want to improve the quality of life of many others.
I'm rocking with Doc.
Most definitely, I'm rocking with Doc.
I'm rocking with Doc.
The young people will embrace me. They will support me.
Yes, we supporting Doc.
Most definitely, I'm rocking with Doc.
This July at convention, rock with Doc.
5 o'clock, roadblock, horse and carriage jeepney. People around the radio, they want to listen to Steve McKinney on hard coffee, hard coffee, hard coffee. I'm coming with Steve McKinney, a man of conviction, Bohemian to the bone, a voice of the people. So call him on your phone. Hard coffee, hard coffee, hard coffee. I'm coming with Steve McKinney. Da 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 da, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. I'm coming with Steve McKinney.
Welcome back. This is Hard Copy on a Tuesday. It's always sometimes ending up being a Business Tuesday. And we're talking your business today, trying to make sure that you know what is happening and why it's important. So, you know, we're talking about NIB. You've seen all the newspaper stories, and I've heard all the stuff that's been happening with NIB, and you've heard people call me and complain that they can't get their pension checks. Some people, some says they got it, some says they didn't. Others with disability and all kinds of stuff. Well, it's part because of a system, for the most part, when it was happening. However briefly it may have been, it's been because of this new V3 system that some people have accused NIB of just implementing cold turkey without running it parallel with the present system or the previous system that they had. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I can only tell you that I spoke with some people who were close to the situation and had given that as an indication as to some of the problems. But the problems seem to be more so than just that. It seems to be some things that have been happening in the management, you may say, or what was not happening in a timely fashion in the management because of some personnel and personalities that may have conflicted in their way of implementing the operations or their way of handling things, the way that people are used to a high standard at NIB. They've been that way for many years. We've never had any difficulties, not really with NIB. It's always been a smooth way of processing claims and checks. And, you know, you present your ID, they get you sorted out. Your monies go to the bank. You go to the bank, you get your check. You should be happy. That's not been happening in recent weeks. And it has come to the attention of Hard Copy, and we have pushed the issue. And others have, at that particular time when we were pushing it, jumped off the train onto the track and ran down the track and say they ain't coming back. And of course, I speak very, very openly and candidly about Mrs. Rowena Bethel, who in fact was in charge of the actual operations overall at NIB, but she has decided that she's not going to sign to stay on and so forth and so on. And then there was some other subsequent informational pieces that came out that painted a picture that, all was not well from her perspective. Well, we're not so interested in getting into all of that today, but it's a part of the conversation, the dialogue, I do believe. And because we are open-minded and straight shooters, we have to give you, the Bahamian people, the information straight up. And so today we have gotten with us around our table Dr. Raymond Wells, who's the Senior Deputy Director responsible for IT. Very important area, very important person. Good afternoon. Welcome to Hot Copy. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon, Bahamas.
We're happy to have you, man. We're happy to have you. Also with me today is Gerard Elliott, who is the Assistant Director of New Providence Operations. And we're happy to have him too. How you doing today, Mr. Elliott?
Good afternoon, Steve. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Pandora Butler is with me today. I can't do anything in NIB unless Pandora Butler comes along, because she keeps things on the straight and narrow. She fills in the blanks and she crosses the T's and dots the I's. And that's always important. Pandora, good to see you. How are you?
So good, Steve. It's so good to be back here. Missed you.
Well, I'm a missable kind of guy.
You got that right.
Appreciate it. Well, listen, let's talk some business today, because the truth is I've got people listening in and they want to know what is going on at NIB. I'm going to start from that premise. What is happening at NIB, or are we just over the top as a country and everything is smooth? What's going on?
Well, Steve, we would first like to thank you for allowing us to
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Be on your show to speak to the Bahamian people,
Mhm.
and in particular our customers.
Yeah. So
Well-
Pandora will perhaps tell me
Yes.
more of what I want to know. Pandora, I know that this is not an easy thing. All
Mhm.
things considered, people want to know what's going on. They see all this stuff that's happening with Mrs. Bethel moving on and so forth and so on. I know. But more importantly, while people hear that, and that's good for fodder, for comfort, information and chit chat and all that kind of stuff, people want to know what's happening with me money. Is everything going to be okay? This system, will this cause us problems in the future? Give me an overall view, if you will, on what really is happening at NIB right now, so I can put people on page.
Okay, Steve, you said it well in your opening remarks just now. NIB has set a standard. And for the past 41 years, we've adhered to those standards. And those standards are that we provide income replacement for our insured population when they need it most.
Mhm.
We've done that. We've done that week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. And we continue to do that. But let me just say that sometimes we encounter problems, and we've always gotten through the problems. And why we thought it necessary to come here, we've heard the noise in the market. We've heard it, and it's pained us. It's pained us mainly, though, because it's impacting and it's perhaps scaring some of our customers. And we never want that to happen. I heard something today, and let me just tell you why I'm here. I heard something today that suggested that NIB was not able to process benefit payments. I heard that. The person was calling for an inquiry into NIB, find out why NIB is not processing and paying benefits. And I came here just to say nothing could be further from the truth.
It's not true.
The National Insurance Board has processed and has actually paid some 1,500 payments to the tune of some $8.5 million. And that is between, Dr. Wells, that is between April to June of this year. In fact, I go further. Just this week alone, 15,000 payments. Yes, just this week alone, from Sunday to yesterday, we have paid some 500 payments just this week alone. So nothing could be further from the truth. We are indeed fulfilling our mission. Now, there are some people, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about that. But I don't want anybody to come away with the idea that NIB is not paying its benefits.
So it
we
wasn't that
continue
NIB
to
was
pay
paralyzed
benefits.
totally.
NIB has not been paralyzed. We will not be paralyzed, not as long as we have us there, not as long as we're there. Because I want to make a point as well. When you're talking about customers, you're not talking about aliens and strangers. You're talking
brothers
about
and
my
sisters.
family. You're talking about my neighbors. You're talking about the people I have to sit across from in church. You're talking about the people I shop alongside in the supermarket. And everywhere I go, these are my people. In fact, if I talk long enough, I find that I'm related to them. So you're not talking about strangers. So everyone you're talking about, and this experience, what I'm talking about is not just mine. It's every person who works back at NIB. That's the passion we have. We're not serving strangers. We're serving our own brothers and sisters,
What do you
mothers and fathers.
suppose? What do you suppose, or why do you suppose there's that talk out there? Is that just people fooling around and being mischievous, that they have not been paid benefits, because we got a number of text messages. Not this week. We only got 2. We got 2 on Sunday. When I was doing a show and we talked about it in that particular show, somebody says, tell so-and-so that they're not telling the truth because I'm a pensioner, I've not been paid, that kind of thing. So I'm asking, is this a matter where some people have exploited this, propagandized it, or is this a matter where there have been some legitimate concerns? And what if there were legitimate concerns? What were those concerns as to why the public had been, some members of the public had been saying, we can't get pay our disability check, we can't get pay our maternity benefit, that kind of thing?
Okay, these 2 gentlemen are here to speak to that in depth. But before we get there, I just want to ensure that we lay a foundation for what we're talking about. There seem to be some, like you say, misconceptions, and we will admit, and we take some of the blame, we've been kind of quiet. That's because we've been so busy back on the home front, working to resolve the issues that are cropping up and that have cropped up. We've been really busy. And so we've not paid as much attention to answering as we should have. And we figure this is where it stops. We're going to have to say something to our customers. Let them know there's no need for alarm. We are fully in control of the situation. Understand that this is not the end of the world for us. You will be paid. Again, these gentlemen are here to go further, but I just want to lay that foundation.
Understood. So we've got Dr. Raymond Wells with us. He's a senior deputy director. He has responsibility for IT, and this is where they tell me the problem first came up. Now, let me just put you on page, Dr. Wells, and I know that you know your thing, and I just want to just set the record as to what people had said to us and what we got. We got that somehow NIB got into this thing of buying some new technology somewhere out of Milwaukee, let me just say, and that they paid somewhere around about $14 million for this technology. This is called a V3, some kind of V3 system, electronic system, to make sure that all things are going to be done well, the data and all that kind of stuff. I'm told that in this particular situation, the new system came online at the end of May and had been causing some problems, glitches in the system. That this new system that came online in May is the reason why there have been some hiccups in the system, because they thought, the person who gave me this information, who was well connected to it, says that a system should have run parallel with the old system that you would have had installed before, and it should not have been a cold turkey position of just switching over. That's what I'm told. I can understand that in layman's terms. You know all the technical jargon on that. That's the first thing. That the system that was running, that you have now, the V3, is a system that came out of Milwaukee, manufactured, implemented in Milwaukee. It took them, I'm told, about 4 years to get the bugs out of the system. And this system is virtually new for them. And it took them, the experts, some 4 years to get the bugs out of the system. And this informant was saying that he did not understand how we could have run a new system just like that without running the system parallel to make sure that we don't have these kinds of things. Sounds logical to me. But I want to ask you about that, because first and foremost, what is the system? Why was it necessary to change the system? Because I'm told the system became necessary to change because the government wanted to have something new in place to make sure that they can sell this idea of national health insurance, and that this new system would be able to hold the capacity of all the things that they wanted. So they wanted to move out from the old system. I'm only giving it to you. You're the expert. You set the record straight, because that's why you're here, Dr. Wells. And so that's enough for you to start to chew on. What's happening?
A mouthful, Brother McKinney. Steve, one of the things, you said a mouthful correctly, but NIB and its continuing mission to provide income replacement for workers of the Bahamas sought to update its system and processes to better serve the public. The core or the main reason for the rollout is to better serve the public. And I'll explain to you. To this end, we set out to identify and roll out an insurance administration system more than 5 years ago.
Okay.
I want to be clear on the timeline. Understood. More than 5 years ago. Yep. The implementation of the new insurance administration system began in 2012 and replaced a nearly 30-year-old system.
I see.
So the reason for the new system was because that old system was built on very old code that we no longer could support. I mean, the persons who, when I did try, and my team did try to procure expertise, these persons, because the code that it was built on, they are in the sunset of their lives. They didn't even want, we couldn't even pull any personnel to help support the code. So the board, National Insurance Board, wanted to offer more to its customers.
So you're looking at an obsolete system, basically. It's old. It was working, but it's so old.
It had its challenges.
I understand.
Right. Now, the first module of that system was the registration of the new cards that you see. We call it the registration phase, rollout 1. And so that phase took place in April 2014. So I'm trying to paint a timeline for you. You gave the impression that we had a system, we dropped cold turkey and brought up a new system.
Yes, sir.
That system, the registration module of that system was launched in April 2014, 2 years ago. As you're aware, in 2016, the second rollout of that system took place, which replaced the core NIB system. All aspects of the business of NIB was rolled out in that second rollout. Now, the second rollout, the first rollout, the second rollout, and the third rollout that took place in June, all came with extensive user acceptance testing. Matter of fact, we tested the system for more than a year. And when you talk about parallel run, we were pushing old data, the data from the old system, into those parallel environments. So we have a production environment where the business of NIB takes place. But NIB's, the insurance administration, the V3 system in NIB has many environments where we test before we roll out new code, before we roll out new aspects of the system. This was extensive, all right? But Steve, I just want to mention that this is the nature of what we do. When you're dealing with systems, there's always patches to the code. There's always updates. I mean, you have a system here, and I'm sure on Tuesday nights, that system kick off an update from Microsoft, and it updates patches every Tuesday. So this is the nature. And so when you talk about parallel runs, we have taken a parallel run versus a direct cutover versus a pilot. We've done all the recommendations from a best practices standpoint to roll the system out. And so we've done a pilot where we roll out the registration module. We had data going back into the old system. From that, we call it back bridging of data. We've did a parallel run in separate environments, and we directly cut over once we were comfortable with that system. And Mrs. Pandora Butler would give a little bit, I was going to say Penny, but she will give a little bit more on the specifics as relate to the claims, the number of claims that are impacted here. And I must say, one claim for us at NIB is too much. One claim, all right? So that's really when you talk about the business at NIB, the V3 system, the implementation there now, I don't know where this Milwaukee came from. I'm not aware that the company is from Milwaukee. I know that we had certain attestations when we got the system, and the company is out of New York. The Milwaukee rollout, I believe, when I look at it, is no different than the timeline that we took to roll out as. The time to take to roll out these 30, 40-year-old system is normally 36 to 48 months or even longer, depending upon how bad the data is. You would appreciate that having data in an older system is very problematic to bring into a new system. And so that was a big part of our project. And that is why you would see that we took, in many instances, 5 years, built many environments to test the code, to test the adjudication side, the claims adjudication side of this. And so we have done quite a bit of work. We have been very busy over the past 5 years rolling this system out. It was not where we shut down and came up. That is the perception that is out there. That is not the case.
So you say that there was compatibility in this rollout that has been happening, the adjustments of the system's been happening the last 5 years. You're saying to me that you would have taken every necessary precaution to make sure that it would have been a smooth transition, but you did have some problems.
Of course.
And those problems are you can almost say that they are expected in some cases because that's how these things are.
And I'll tell you, see it precisely. And I'll tell you because we expected the problems, we gave ourselves a 60-day buffer. So we paid all persons who were in the old system up to 60 days, even though it did not hit their account for 60 days. So we posted it monthly. We made sure that persons were paid up to 60 days so that we could work out any unforeseen issues that we may have had as relate to the
And
payments.
that 60 days, that's a 2-month window for those who are collecting checks at the end of each month.
Right.
All right. So you did that. So did that prove to be enough time to do the other adjustments and stuff that you needed to do to make sure you had a continuous smooth transition in a stabilized environment, if you will, sustainability of this V3 system that is still in operation and that you all are depending on to get these payments done?
Right now, Steve, as we find any bugs to the system that we didn't see during our extensive user testing, we are patching those bugs. We are not shutting down the system in the middle of the day. We are patching it through a very directed change management process so that the business is not impacted. So as those issues arise, we are patching the system, and that is not uncommon with a new rollout. I like to use the analogy. Apple is a $50 billion company. Roll out their update 7 code, and the next day they roll out a patch to it. This is the nature of
the business.
Understood.
We're talking with Dr. Raymond Wells. He's the Senior Deputy Director responsible for IT at NIB, giving us an update as to what's happening with this smooth sounding, slick talking kind of V3 thing. And all it really is, you're talking about a computerized electronic way of paying out and processing information of the client's information to go to the banks and all that kind of stuff to make sure that nobody is underpaid, overpaid, or not paid at all. And there were glitches in the system like any system would have glitches. We understand it. That sounds logical. But I have to ask you now, with all that's going on now, how many people do you have still working on the system to make sure that we can spray all the bugs, and if you will, for my terminology, get rid of all those little bugs? What do you anticipate over the next 3 months? Do you anticipate any more delays to the point that it would impact certain individuals now that your 2-month window is closing? Do you expect that we can have other problems in the system going forward? Do you need another period of 2-month payout ahead of time kind of thing, if you will?
See, Penny would give some numbers as to where we are right now with claims in the system. And so you would see, I think that's important, Penny, to provide those numbers so Brother McKinney would see exactly the level of claims we're talking about. Mind you, one claim is too many.
Understood.
But Brother McKinney, the sky is not falling. I want to say that. And while I'm on that same line of thought, over the last 5 years, I want because I promise my team that anywhere I go, I would always
you got to represent,
big you up in a sense. But I want to say to the entire NIB staff, thank those. I mean, the staff of NIB did a yeoman's job over the past 5 years to embrace the system. We could not have rolled the system out without their input. I mean, meaning my IT team, as experienced and as qualified as they are, my IT team needs the business to give us the requirements to roll out a system. We cannot roll it out with them. And so all of the work that they would have done over the last 5 years and going and performing user acceptance testing, assisting us with the requirements analysis for the system, their dedication has been phenomenal. And they continue to do this every single day. All right. So the team at NIB, the NIB as a whole, has embraced the system, and we've totally embraced the system. I have people who stop me in the hallway and or in the byways of NIB and say to me, "Man, this is a good system." And so, when Pandora explains the gravity of the problem, mind you, one claimant is too many. I think it would put it in perspective.
Yes.
All right. I want to do that, but I don't want to do this yet. Let me tell you why. I want him to stay on track so I can look at the claims and the statements that I got from Mr. Leslie Munnings, who's the president of the Public Managers Union, who is very supportive, it appears, but at the same time had some concern with a couple of areas in NIB, executives' attitude towards certain things that are happening, and members who are troubled and in some cases working tremendously hard to assist their brothers and sisters, as you said. These are Bahamians who they're assisting. These are not strangers. And so I want to just do that for the record so that I can have Dr. Wells speak to those things. Here's Mr. President from the Public Managers Union, who I believe is a very responsible man who wants to see the best things happen at NIB.
I have requested a meeting with the chairman. I await her response. The general impression I have gotten thus far is that they don't deal with small timers like me. I'm not talking about the average customer downstairs. They don't even deal with the lowly presidents of unions like me. So if I get no response, then I go to the minister. I'm trying to give them a chance to speak to me so that I could say something to the staff. If they don't, then my next action will be straightforward. Because I think if you can't speak to me and you're not speaking to the public, you need to go.
But Rowena Balfour has already resigned. What now?
Yeah, but it's too many of them down there to put this on just one person. If she got her bonuses and got off scot-free, then some other people need to pay the price as well, because she didn't pay herself the bonus.
Okay, so there in the context, he was talking about a number of things with payments out for people while others, the regular, average, everyday client, were not being paid. That was the claim. And he was saying that there was no time to deal with this in-house because nobody was talking to him to convey what was supposed to be happening with regular members of staff, who in this soundbite, he says, has been working overtime and everything else to help get this process done and pay people.
The reason I feel compelled to speak up, one is because my members are working sometimes up until 9 o'clock, 7 days a week now, and beginning to show signs of psychological stress from this pressure. They work harder and longer, and they don't even have an established contract in place. I mean, the last contract expired, so we still have to negotiate their contract. They're working without a contract, but they're committed.
Yeah.
There's no plan to take any sort of industrial action, as terrible as it is, as hard as they work. But I cannot in good conscience, as president of their union, allow them to work themselves into the ground and then NIB just bring in somebody else to replace them. They have families too. The thing is, they also have daughters that are having children.
Yes.
They also have husbands or sons that have gotten injured and are counting on these payments as well. It's their mothers, it's their grandmothers who are counting on their retirement checks. So, it's almost like a catch-22, but it's time for some accountability from the directors who enjoy credit cards and hefty per diems and nice stipends and honorariums and hefty cash bonuses, while Bahamians are suffering.
Yeah.
Suffering miserably.
All right. That's the president.
I want to jump in there, right?
Yeah, we'll jump right in.
That's my president.
That's
too.
your president.
So I'm a member of the Public Managers Union, but I want to say not one of us here has come to speak to that. In fact, there's nothing we can speak to. Those are opinions, and those are perhaps his observation. But what he did say is he talked about speaking to the public, and that's why we're here, to speak to the public. And we want to say to the public, and in fact, what he said was a perfect segue into what I want to talk about. He spoke to the level of commitment and dedication that our staff have for the customers, and Dr. Wells referenced that. We are absolutely committed, absolutely dedicated to fulfilling our mission. And in furtherance of that, and Dr. Wells foreshadowed me talking about these figures, and I want to talk to these figures because if you listen to the noise in the market, you wouldn't realize that we continue to do what we are there to do. And so we continue to pay benefits. I said already we've paid some 15,000 payments to the tune of some $8.5 million, representing about 9,000 beneficiaries, some 9,000, and I'm talking about short-term benefits. And when I talk about short-term benefits, I'm talking about sickness, unemployment, maternity benefit. People are being paid. We still have there are about 500. Now listen, when I say 500, I don't want anybody to get to misunderstand what I'm saying, because this figure, even as I speak right now, this figure will continue to change. People will continue to submit claims. We will continue to take out of those claims, process and finish with those claims. And so at any point, you're going to have some claims. So we're saying as of today's date, we have about 500 claims that are in limbo, for want of a better word, for various reasons. Some may be because of a glitch or two, but not a whole lot of them. There are still some other things that hold up a claim, and I've said it time after time, and I've come on this show and
not
other
all the
shows.
paperwork,
There
that kind
are
of stuff.
absolutely supporting documents. Another big thing for us, and our compliance manager Baxter, for God's sake, mentioned this. Something that holds up a claim is contributions, and so there are some employers, some self-employed people who are not compliant or they're not up to date with their contributions.
Which means
that
that
holds up a claim. And so the claimant may not realize what's holding up that maternity check or what's holding up that sickness check. So it could be any number of things that are holding those up. But I want to say the numbers are not insurmountable. And a commitment was made a couple weeks ago. And when I say couple, I mean couple, not the Bahamian couple, 2 weeks ago. The commitment was made that by mid-July, and mid-July falls next week, by mid-July, we would have resolved most, if not all, of the issues related to short-term benefits. And we are well on our way to doing that. In fact, we're trying very, very hard to beat that deadline. Of
So short-term benefits, just for clarification.
Maternity,
just
sickness, unemployment. Those are the benefits that are paid in the short term where people are temporarily unable to work. So we have a handle on that.
Understood.
Now, here's where we've been having some issues. Admittedly, we've been having some issues with pensions. Now, again, let's understand what we're talking about. Last month, and let me just say, for those who are doubting what we're talking about, we were able to pay pensions using this new system. We paid pensions in June on time using the V3 system. We have over 36,000 pensioners. What are pensions? We're talking about the benefits, retirement, survivors, invalidity benefits. Then we have assistances, old age pension, invalidity, survivors assistance. We were able to pay over 35,000 of those last month. Well, this month, June, this is July, last month. But there are still some that have not yet been paid. I could tell you for a fact that we have 3,000 new or reinstated payments. What is a reinstated payment? And people need to understand this. Dr. Wells, I think, yes, it was him who said it. We planned for every contingency as much as we could. And so we decided early this year that we would not suspend any payments during this cutover. So even if you weren't verified during the cutover, we would not suspend. And in fact, we've continued that policy. We've not suspended anybody, right? But there were some people who were suspended in advance of this process and this cutover. Those people, we had 3,000 of those reinstated or new claims paid in June. Now, again, I say there were some that weren't paid. Of those that weren't paid, we had like 274 rejected claim. What's a rejected claim? A rejected claim, and I personally know several of these. A rejected claim is where a person, for example, gives us a bank account, and that bank account is not a correct bank account. I just, in fact, before I walked in this room, had to respond to somebody who gave us a debit card number rather than his account number for us to pay it into. I have a cousin, I talked to you about these people, these related to us. I have a cousin who insisted that her bank account was in Eleuthera when in fact it was at Cable Beach. Because she continued to swipe in Eleuthera and get her money, she forgot her account was in Nassau. And so we have issues like that that crop up. And so we were unable to resolve some of those. And then there was the issue of our foreign pensioners. I don't know if you remember, but some people would remember that NIB in 2006 got the governor of the central bank, who was then a member of our board, to delegate authority to commercial banks. Because of the system and the different way we were doing these, and there's some I don't know the technical jargon, Dr. Wells could tell you that, but because of the way we're doing it now, and we're using a specific bank as a clearing house, so to speak, they could not get some of those paid. We resolved it. Those were resolved, and most of those are paid. Again, people I know personally, people from around the world who would have emailed me to say, I didn't get my pension this month. So these are the issues that we're dealing with. But I say again, these people, we are resolving them every single day. The person who was making noise yesterday ain't making noise today, because we're resolving them as they come up. And that's the nature of the business we do. Sometimes things fall through the crack. It may be a fault of ours, and when it is, we are not too big to say we're sorry. We're sorry, we overlooked this happened. But a lot of times it's not necessarily something that we could have planned for. Some things go wrong even in the claim process. Some people give us the wrong information. And we don't want to talk anybody's business, but there's some wrong information people give us. But we've been processing claims. The claims are being processed. It's a handful. Dr. Wells said it, and I second it. If it's one claim that's being held up, if there's one mother that hasn't gotten paid her maternity benefit, if there's one person who's sick and hasn't gotten a sickness benefit, it's one too many. And that's truly the way we feel.
All right. So when you look at your overall performance, one second, when you look at your overall performance, let's say you were always performing at, say, 100%. Let me give that to you. Say you were performing at 100%. Before all of this started to happen. What kind of percentage is your performance pegged at now by your own numbers? On that scale of from 1 to 100%, what kind of performance are you having right now, all things considered, in an IB with the payouts and everything?
Okay.
Are you at 10%, 25%, 50%?
I see the problems. I see when there are issues, people call me or call us. Mr. Elliott here, he would be able to tell you this.
Just to reiterate what Pandora said, I can't give you a percentage, but what's important to note is persons submit their claims, and currently we only have about 500 claims not processed.
Okay.
Our short-term claims, we propose to have those claims processed by mid-July. As relates to long-term, we have about 1,300 claims to be processed. And we gave a commitment that by the end of August, all these claims will be processed and persons will be paid. You know, you played a tape a few minutes ago, and it's important to note, Steve, that our focus is to ensure our customers are paid on a timely basis. Any attention we pay to anything else just detracts us from that focus. And that's our focus. And that's the focus of us here, and that's the focus of the NIB team. Our commitment is to ensure our customers are paid and paid timely. And we're doing everything in our power to ensure that's done, despite the naysayers.
All right. I hear you. About 1,300 long-term that is still out there, but by August, we should see a clearing of that. You've got in a pool of about 36,000 in the pensioners, you got only about 500 that are still in a spot of.
Don't mix those two up.
Sorry.
The 500 is not, they're not the pensioners. Those are short term. That's
what I meant to say, short term.
Every week, yes.
The short term. So you got about 500 of those. So all things considered, you're saying that this is kind of like average if you have a problem, because people are being paid.
Yes.
But at any given time, those numbers fluctuate because claims are still coming in.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
All right. So that means then that those persons who are listening today and may have a concern or a specific question, you can call us, because we want to make sure that when people are through hearing the show today, that they leave understanding that payments are being done by mid-July, which is next week. More payments will be made. A lady called me and said to me that she didn't get her pension on something And I said, from what I know, this before you said this today, that there's supposed to be something coming by next week, Wednesday. Look out for it and let me know if you don't get it, because there are people who are still expecting. And so some people know that it's late and they are restless. They want to get paid because you all know they depend on this. These people are looking forward to this like we look forward to a cup of water every 5 minutes, like me who like water. The point is they're waiting to be paid, and I'm sure that's not missing on any of you. You seem to be very much up to the mark of making sure that you are sticking with your mandate to get these people paid. But I know as a result of that, there are people who would have perhaps made mischief out of it. There are people who are legitimately concerned about what has happened. There are people who are still questioning the V3 rollout. And so a lot of things may be flying around there. I'm going to say a lot of things are flying around out there. And that is because this may also be that part of the season, which is above all of your pay grade.
Yes.
Y'all are not into the politics of things, and so I understand
Not at
that.
all.
So I'm happy that you all have come, and I want to run to a break in a minute. I know you've got more to tell me, and we're going to get to that. But I want to run and pay a bill, and when I come back here, we will plant our feet solidly on these issues and go over a couple of these numbers, and also give people the hope and expectations to furtherance of timelines, that kind of stuff, because the people won't be paid. This Independence Week, they'll be happy if they get paid on Wednesday tomorrow. They'll be happy if they get paid by next week. And you're telling me not to worry, they will be paid, because that's what you're doing, working diligently to make sure that they are. This is Hard Copy. We're coming back. We're talking today with Dr. Raymond Wells, Senior Deputy Director, responsible for IT. Gerard Elliott, who's the Assistant Director of the New Providence Operations here, and Dora Butler, the Senior Manager. We'll talk some more about NIB and what you can expect in just a minute.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, heat and cooling water pumps, generators and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
Bahamas, get ready for the launch of Dr. Hubert A. Minnis' Rock with Doc campaign. Join us this coming Wednesday, July 6, 2016, starting at 7:30 p.m. live on Christie Park, Nassau Street. Come and hear from the leader of the Free National Movement, Dr. the Honorable Hubert A. Minnis, as he shares his plans to create a new vision for a new Bahamas. There will be special guest speakers, live entertainment, and a special Rock with Doc Jokernu Rush Hour. That's the official launch of Dr. Hubert A. Minnis' Rock with Doc campaign. This coming Wednesday, July 6, 2016, at Christie Park on Nassau Street, starting at 7:30 p.m. Be there. Be there. This ad is being sponsored by Campaign Minnis 2016.
Your health is priority. Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory is here to serve you. DNA testing, cancer screening, HIV and drug testing, and complete physicals. Reliable results in a timely manner. Certified professional, confidential, and friendly staff. Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory, committed to working with our community to improve health and wellness. Number 59 Montrose Avenue. Ample parking available. Open weekdays 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Telephone 677-4200 or 1.
Thinking about traveling this summer? School expenses? Shopping? Need to pay for it all? Want a loan? Fast? With low rates? A $100 bonus? And a chance at $5,000? Visit Commonwealth Bank. We're ready to say yes.
Let us build this country by people's power. It has been foretold.
There shall be magnificent changes that no one can control.
We are in a dispensation of new beginnings.
There shall emerge in the next 12 months leaders you never saw before.
The people of the New Bahamas in a movement to restore the vision of a nation that believes in Christian values and principles and the supremacy of God.
God is saying the time for a new leadership has been birthed. It has arrived.
The People's Movement, the dawn of a new day, begins with you.
And I'm Glenn Rowe, ready to serve, ready to restore the glory of our Bahamas.
For more information, contact info@thepeoplesmovement.net.
Parents, there's no need for your kids to be bored this summer. Bring them to the best academic summer camp in town. Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp for kids. Young adults in primary, junior, and senior high school. Reinforcing what was taught in school. Maths, reading, language arts, and computers. Fun-filled field trips and sporting activities. Give Grammy a break. Enroll your child into Cybertech Career College, all-day science and technology summer camp. 3-224-223. That's 3-224-223.
Toting is a Bahamian tradition. Sometimes we tote to, but mostly we tote from. And the best place to tote from is Super Value and Quality Supermarkets with weekly specials like
Ronzoni ready cut macaroni 14 ounce 99 cents. Libby's whole kernel corn or sliced meats 15 ounce $1.19. Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs 15 ounce $1.09. Fresh peaches 99 cents per pound. And turkey wings 59 cents per pound.
Super Value and Quality Supermarkets, your toting headquarters.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL, seize your future.
I enjoy hard copy. I just love it, the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Welcome back, second hour of Hard Copy. I've got the folks from NIB here. You say you were not paid? Well, pardon me, they're telling me the truth because I only see one call on the line to tell me anything. I've got a couple of text messages here. And so far, my special guests, Pandora Butler, Senior Manager, Dr. Raymond Wells, and Gerard Elliott, have been telling me a whole lot of stuff as to what is really happening. And they've gone to great lengths to explain to me the problems that may be facing some pensioners. And I've been told some very interesting information here this evening. But if you have a question and then you have a concern, we work for you. We're listening to what you say. So you can call me today, public, 325-0235 or 6, 325-0242 or 43, 325-0252 or 53. You can also send me a WhatsApp, a text at 376-9234. And we want to make sure whatever questions you have, it's cleared up today because you know me, I work for you. You tell me you have a problem. I've gotten these people in here. Now, I don't want them to believe that I was just saying that you said you had a problem. If you have a problem, just please call and find out when it can be resolved. And they are doing payments. They told me they're making payments as we speak. Pensioners are being paid. There's a tune of 36,000 pensioners out there, 35,000 paid right up to mid-June. And of course, you have another 3,000 thereabouts who are new. That's now being worked out to be paid. And you've got only 234 rejected claims because of a problem here or there. And among those who are getting those benefits that are called short-term benefits, there are only about 500 still being processed in the system, which is relatively kind of average when you take a look at it. And so it appears that the people are being paid, pensioners are being paid, and you have to be the judge of that. So far, they've paid $8.5 million out there in 1,500 payments between April and June of this year. And That's about 9,000 beneficiaries. So talk to me, friends. 325-023-546. Here's something that somebody has sent me right now. I want to share with the guests here today. Mr. McKinney, people are telling you the truth. Yes, they are now trying to pay pensioners since May and June, but I can assure you that I, a pensioner, did not receive any payment from January until May. I know others who also experienced this inconvenience, and some even had utilities disconnected. All that we were told was that it's the new system. How do you respond?
Steve, I'd like to
Lines are full too, by the way, so we've got many calls.
I'd like to speak specifically to our claimants. If you would have submitted a claim before June 24th and you have not been paid, we would like to hear from you. You can call us at 225-5642 and the number, the letters are call NIB, or you can email us at claims@nib-bahamas.com, or you can come in. We want to hear from you. We want to pay these payments. So please contact us.
Don't leave that person, Steve, to answer that person just now, gentleman or lady. That bears out what we just said before the break. We said during the break that the only persons during the cutover who would not have been paid would have been persons who were suspended for whatever reason. And that person said they weren't paid from what, January?
Right.
Which means they had
in
been
May, they said.
suspended. No, they said they were paid in May
Right.
in respect of the payment since January.
Exactly,
Which
exactly.
means he or she was suspended for some reason. Because NIB, we made a decision, I said it already, not to suspend anybody during the cutover. And so what happened was all pensions in payment continued to be paid. You understand?
Understood.
So she would have been, or he would have been, someone who was suspended. And so we weren't even processing. And listen, we sent these notices out. I can tell you, we sent notices out to the public telling them what would be happening for a specific period. We're not going to suspend anybody, but we're not going to be, even though we're going to be accepting new claims, and the record is there, we're going to accept new claims, but we're not going to be processing any new claims, nor were we processing any suspensions. We couldn't do that during the cutover. And so that lady, she said it. She was paid in May. Obviously, she was paid in May on the new system. So she got paid under the new system. But she is atypical in that she was suspended. All right? We didn't stop any pensions in payment. She was suspended. And she got back on the roll, on the pay slip in May. So she's good now. So she's just bearing up what we said.
And Steve, to add to that, I think it's important for us to kind of put in a plug for our new registrant self-service portal that is now online and live and is available for all of our registrants to access. Persons who need to verify could actually go online and verify. Once you come in and get a PIN number and provision yourself on the portal, you're able to register now online at least once a year. Well, once a year. You verify twice a year. So we still want to see you once a year, but you're able to go online once a year and verify with the click of a button. Verify, and the system verifies you.
Can I just
That is available now.
jump in there, not see you, not literally see you, because as you understand, we have pensioners around the world. So that gentleman in Karachi, Pakistan, is not required to come in for us to see him.
Correct.
So that was just a figure of speech.
Yes.
So what happens, as Dr. Wells say, you verify online, but then the other one, you have one of the sanction authorities, have a bank manager, a lawyer, notary public, one of those, say that I've actually seen this person. This is the document he provided. I verify that the information contained in this is true. That's what he means by see you. So that's the verification process, and we can't plug this RSS enough. There are so many applications there. People need to go online. Soon, another iteration of this system will, and listen, let me tell you why we're so excited. And so anybody who thinks we're not united in this, we're absolutely excited and united, because guess what's going to happen? Rather than people having to call us in the near future, they won't have to call us to see the status of their claim, right?
They
don't
Pandora,
have to call us to see the status of their claim
They
if
can go
they've
online.
signed in. they can go online and see what's happening with their claim. That's why we're so excited. So these are some of the things you're going to be able to do. You know, you're now able to go on. You were able for over a year, 2 years, to go on and see the status of your contributions. And these are all exciting things that are coming. NIB, the people at NIB are excited about these things. There have been some challenges. Yes, we're here to admit it, to repent, so to speak. Because when we were sitting out there, we heard your biblical allusion. You quoted some scripture. You're a good scripture reading man. And so we join you. Okay, we repent. And seriously, for those people who have been disadvantaged over the last month or so, or 2 months or 3 months, we're working hard.
But the worst is behind us now, where all things are going to be looking.
Absolutely, I have no doubt, none,
certainly,
that the worst is behind us.
And Steve, if I could piggyback behind Penny, while everybody was eating their crab and rice on Father's Day,
Don't tell me I know. Y'all were working. Y'all
we
were right down on
we
it.
were rolling out a portal to allow the registrants of NIB to be able to go online to submit claims. They're able to submit some, I think it's 5 short-term claims, one of which is maternity. They're able to see the status of their claims. They're able to see when their checks are printed. They're able to see when, so you don't have to call us. Right now, today, you could get a user account and be able to see wherever your claim is. You're able to see right now. You could do that. While you're on the portal, you could also look at your contribution status. You're able to see whether or not your employer is making the contributions for you. And so, you know, that is something that we have recently rolled out as well.
I want to talk a little bit before we lose the day about that, but not just yet. I've got to take these calls. You made mention earlier that some people had some problems as to why they may not have received, and there may have been some hangups that happened because either the employer didn't pay or they had to wait until certain things were done. I want to find out later on, and don't let me forget it. You need to mention it. What happens in the case where there's supposed to be this kind of, you have a system in place to make sure that those persons who are owing national insurance, the compliance grouping, I mean, what's happening here? Because that can really give a black eye to NIB, good workers, and even its management and staff. And by extension, the government, who've been getting plenty black eye in recent times because of things like employers not paying on time. And what is on time for the employer? I want to talk about that before we go today, because we know it's supposed to be paid every month. Some people let it run for 3 and 4 months. I don't know if NIB allows that, but I know in the small business market, and I can talk there because I'm in the small business part, that has to be paid every month. And some small businesses like myself look forward to getting rid of that right away. That it, pay that. Because we know how things are and we want to make sure that we are on the same page. I know there's some rules about if you don't pay and you're not compliant, you can't get certain licenses and stuff because it has to go through NIB. But still, you got big places, I believe. I'm not so sure, but you can speak to that in just a minute. Let me take these calls, though. Hard copy, thanks for holding. How are you today? Sorry about that. Yes, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yes, sir. You have a question for my team here today from NIB?
Yeah. I apply for my old age pension, and finally I find some contribution where I used to work. The young man who served me, after he found it, he put it together and he said, go to that woman across the hallway there. Went to her. Apparently, I give it to her, she processed it, and she passed it on to somebody. And I was waiting from December to get the one-time grant that they told me I'm qualified for, even though I have other contribution that he didn't put down because he was satisfied that I have a one-time contribution. Now, apparently, I thought that was a straight-up thing. I show you the contribution, you cut the check. But apparently, it was not like that. Ms. Jackson called me from National Insurance, and she told me that she processed it, she turned over my papers to her officer. But I said, when I going to get the one-time grant? She say in June. I called the first of June. She tell me say July or August. You see, this has been from December, and they say after I get the one-time grant, give yourself some time and apply for your old age pension. Well, I'm 66 and I haven't even got the one-time grant yet.
Yeah.
And if I get that, if I ain't get that, when will I be able to get the old age pension?
Understood. Okay, fair questions and
Anything now?
yeah. Okay, so well, let me let Mrs. Butler respond to you.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Elliott wants to speak generally, but I want to speak specifically to him because there were some little things in there that might be confusing to persons. What he's talking about is he paid contributions to national insurance, but not sufficiently to qualify for a benefit, for the retirement benefit. He's 66 years old. We were not able to find 10 years worth of contributions in his work life. That's the first issue we're talking about. That's the first issue. We didn't find 10 years for a 66-year-old man. First issue. Second issue is he submitted a claim. Sounds like he talked about finding contributions. So there's an issue. That speaks to the process. See, what happens is we won't pay an assistance to a person who's entitled to a benefit. So what we do is exhaust every measure, every effort to find these contributions with his help. We go through his statement and ensure that we have the right amount. Once we've established that we do, in fact, have the right amount, and I said it earlier for the other person, we would have reached a time where we were not processing any new pensions or long-term benefits. I said it already. This speaks to what he's talking about. And so if now she said he'll be paid in June, initial payments, first-time payments in June, though we say it's the June payment period, we're talking about around the first week in July. First, second week in July, that's when that's paid. Now, he mentioned old age pension. I just want everybody to understand what he's talking about. There is a provision that was made in 2012 where a person who is entitled only to a grant may later on, it's not an entitlement, and the way he talked about it, he could then apply for his old age pension. Old age pension is not an entitlement. There is no his old age pension. He can, though, apply if he can prove to our satisfaction. And when I say our satisfaction, there's a test of resources. If at the end of getting his retirement grant, that's the one-time grant based on those contributions, less than 500, he's older than 65. If he's able to satisfy the test of resources, NIB will then pay him old age pension, but only after we would have done some math. What's the math? We look at what his grant was. So let's say his grant was $3,000. Right? Then we look at what the dollar value of the assistance is. If the assistance is 300, well, say 289, I'm just throwing out figures, but it's somewhere in that region. $289, $290 is the assistance. We will divide the 3,000 by the 290. If we get a year, 2 years, 3 years, after that year, 2 years, 3 years have passed, then he can be considered for old age pension. That's what he's talking about. I want to make sure you understand what we're talking about. That's what he means. And there's nothing untoward, underhanded, sneaky. There's nothing about that. That's clear, above board, provided for in the
So
regulations.
you understand what the lady is saying, sir?
No.
Okay.
Understand, because I only know what they tell me at National Insurance.
Understood.
So now I'm telling you.
I had to get a one-time grant.
Yes. So now I'm telling you.
I give them all the places that I work, and before I finish giving all the place, he said, "Okay, stop. You got enough one-time grant right there." I said, "But I got some more." He
Okay.
said, "Yo,
Let me.
I'll go along with what you got."
Okay,
right
no,
now.
let me cut that off because that is not in any way what is supposed to happen or protocol. So I'm going to give you a number. I want you to call me. I'll verify what you're saying, give you every opportunity to update, if you can, your contribution statement. Give you every
So you can
single
get paid.
opportunity so that if you are in fact entitled to a monthly pension, you will get that because that's why we're here. And so the number to call is 502-1737. That's my number. I will personally deal with you. You have that, sir?
502-1737.
Yes, ma'am.
That's Mrs. Butler, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you kindly. All right, let me take another call. Hard copy, how are you? You want to speak to that?
Afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir. How you doing today, sir?
Very well. Leslie Munnings, President of the Public Managers Union calling.
Yes, Mr. Munnings.
I'd like to say good afternoon to you and your guest.
Good afternoon.
My lovely member, Mrs. Butler. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, my president.
Good, good. Mr. Wells, Dr. Wells.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Elliott, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. President.
Thank you for coming out and speaking to the public. This is something that I've been lamenting and begging for a while, and I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Wells, for commending the staff. That's something else that I've been begging for, and I think the staff really appreciate it. It has gone far too long unsaid, the part that they've played in trying to help develop and introduce this system. As you would know, many of them have, well, some of them have suffered from pressure-related illnesses, seemingly because of this system. But I truly appreciate the fact that you've come on now and started to do things which, in my view, ought to have been done. You know, I've been listening, and I'll continue to listen because I think you're bringing the sort of information that we all wanted to know and all need to know, because we're all being affected either directly or indirectly. But if I didn't know that so many people were suffering, if I didn't know that the staff continue to work the extended hours that they work, listening to yourselves, I would believe that everything is okay, that it's pretty much normal. So I'm going to put 3 questions to you, and you know, I can hang up and listen to your answers. But if it is normal, why do the staff continue to work the extended hours, and or when will there be this return to normalcy? Secondly, there was some mention about mid-July, and there was end of July, and then I believe I heard Mr. Elliott mention something about August. Are any of those timelines, deadlines, reasonable? I have said numerous times that I don't see these issues being resolved before next year this time. I hope that I am wrong. I hope that you are able to prove me wrong. But which deadline should we be looking for now? Because I'm going to start to sort of keep track so that I can know how many different deadlines we're looking at. Lastly, there's been some talk about the customer advocacy unit, which is, I understand, different from the customer services unit. For the benefit of Mr. McKinney's listeners, could you explain what is the purpose of the customer advocacy unit, who has access to it, and how can people avail themselves of what this is there to do?
I appreciate your call, Mr. Munnings. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I'll try to respond to the first question. He spoke about normalcy. It isn't normal now. We have 500 outstanding short-term claims, and we have 1,300 outstanding long-term claims. That is not normal. We are working overtime on evenings and weekends to get these numbers down. That's not normal. We post, and there are 2 dates, you know. There's a date for the short-term claims. We say we'll be back to normal by the 15th of this month. As relates
July.
Yeah, right. For short-term claims, we should be back to normal by the end of next month, August. So there are 2 dates.
Okay.
In fact, the only 2 dates, and I'm just reiterating what Mr. Elliott just said. we should have resolved the STB backlog, if you want to call it, by middle
Short term.
July.
Short term,
And we
yes.
will prove my president wrong. That will be done. So we will resolve. And when we say resolve, there may be 1 or 2 residuals, but we will resolve those 500 or whatever the case is.
Understood.
Right now. That's what we've said. That was the commitment. Now, the August, end of August, and this has been the date, this has not changed. I said earlier, a couple of weeks ago, the commitment was made that by the end of August, we will have resolved the backlog as it relates to long-term benefits.
Right.
Now, can we say it'll be back to normal at the end of that? We certainly hope so, but nobody has given a commitment to back to normal. We said we will resolve those issues. That has been the commitment. The commitment is to resolve the outstanding issues.
Point made. Point understood. Point taken.
On the last question that was raised by Mr. President, I just want to, which was around the customer advocacy group. I've heard a lot about the customer advocacy group, and I would like to be fair to that hard working group of persons. They work extremely hard to resolve all issues that are brought to them. And the purpose of the customer advocacy group was to address any issues that were brought to the director directly. Brother McKinney calls, for whatever reason, he feels the need to call directly to the director to fix it for a problem, to correct a problem. So the director developed that customer advocacy group so she could have ensured that those matters that were brought directly to her did not go unanswered. And so this group is, what is being perpetrated. This group responds to every NIB registrant. No special group. Every NIB registrant they respond to, and they work extremely hard in doing so.
Got lots of calls. I got to go through his calls. Hard copy. Hard copy. How are you?
Yes, good afternoon. I would like to talk with somebody on your panel, please. I think preferably Miss Butler.
Go right ahead. She's listening.
Pardon?
She's listening. Go right ahead.
Okay. I was in a company today, right? And the lady who was supposed to help me, I was dealing with the industrial accident side of it. Now, they waited until this lady came back off of vacation, not actually vacation. She was on sick leave to try and resolve my problem. I was in there for about 3 hours on Friday. And she was working so diligent with me, trying to help me to deal with my claim in the system. But every time she put the claim in, it comes out. Every time she deleted it, it comes back up. So she said, "Don't worry, ma'am. I'm going to stay here and try to get this thing work for you." I called. All day was calling. So I went in. When I got in, they said they transferred the lady. So I'm like, so how am I supposed to get the situation solved from March up until now? If they're going to move the people around, who's trying to help you?
So you're concerned about movement of personnel?
I'm concerned about getting my claim in because the system is not taking it.
What I want to do, that's kind of specific to you, to your case, and we definitely don't want to get into that because there's no way I could cross-check what we're talking about. And so I don't want to get in trouble there. So
No, I don't want you to get in trouble.
Right, so
I'm
let
just
me
saying,
do.
if they're going to move people who was trying to assist you, and when you talk to somebody else, they don't actually know what is even going on.
Okay, so what I'll do is give you my number, 50.
I have it already.
You have it?
Yes.
My number?
I have, it's 502-1737, right?
Yes, you've not called me yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
Because
well,
I was
call
in
me.
today, so now I'm going to try and see if I can get to you tomorrow because I
Yes.
don't want to talk most of my business on the phone.
That,
I'm trying to
we
why
don't
they're
want to
moving
do
people
that.
around
And
at
we
this
don't want to do
critical
that.
time.
And that's not something I can speak to. Definitely, I can't speak to
Call her
movement of
tomorrow.
staff.
You call her for
Yes.
sure. She's going to be there to assist you.
Yes.
And if she isn't, you can call me. You know my number, right?
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you kindly. Hard copy, how are you? Yes, you're on with NIB Hard Copy. Are you there? Okay. How you doing?
Greetings, Mr. McKinney, and greetings to your NIB guest.
Peace and love, yes.
Yeah, I have a couple of quick questions. One of them, I was down there on Father's Day, and I watched the operation from the outside for about 40 minutes. And during that time, I know this was a Sunday, Father's Day, and I understand that people wake even sometimes as late as 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
At NIB employees trying to get everything on the right track.
Yeah.
Now, with all this overtime being expended, and I know it costs some money, I would like to know, is there anybody behind these two phones, 502-1608 and 502-1506? Because for the last 4 months,
Yeah, they're the ones that keep ringing, eh?
to answer those phones.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
You can call there in the morning, Mr. McKinney. No one would answer those numbers.
508.
502-1608 and 502-1506. Those numbers are supposed to get you to some short-term benefit person to give you information on the status of your situation. The second issue is this. My daughter-in-law, her newborn infant is 4 months old. She's went back to work and still hasn't received any maternity benefit or the grant. She's always being told, after the phones don't get answered, we go down there, that the system is down. I think there's a better way to let people know so that they don't have to go through leaving their homes and coming there to go back home, disappointed, or just to get the information when they reach up there. I mean, do something, either mass text or some other way.
Yeah.
But there should be some advance indication to the customers so as they don't have to deal with all this frustration. And the final issue, there are some entities that are not covering their employees' NIB benefits, even that when these employees have check stubs to prove that they have been working for these entities, that the amount of time that these entities just run around the persons or NIB, I don't know if the inspectors deal with it in a timely manner, that sometimes after but 6 weeks and these people find a new job, they are unable to benefit from the benefit that they should have been able to collect from NIB when the matter is finally resolved to the point that NIB finds out that these people were in fact working for these entities. So they don't have to pay this benefit anymore because the person have found a job, but the person suffered for 6, 7, 8 weeks because it took that amount of time that their former employee just been, giving them the run around. And I don't think that is fair because the person was entitled to it and they end up suffering, not having a job for such a period of time. Just because they get a job tomorrow after 8 weeks.
Point made.
Not be eliminated from what they should have got.
Understood. Well, let me let them answer these things for you, my friend, and hopefully there's a bomb here. So thanks for your call.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good evening.
Thank you kindly. Yes.
Steve, I'll address the first issue the caller raised. We realized that sometimes it's difficult to get through the NIB. So what we've done, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we implemented a call center. We identified some persons who were knowledgeable about the entire NIB operations, who we figured were customer friendly. We trained them for a week, and they are now fully operational. There are a number of persons and a manager. So that call center is in fact operational. The number for that call center is 225-5642, or the letters are just call NIB. You just dial call NIB, and someone will answer your call as relates to short-term, long-term benefits, contributions, verification, compliance. So that call center is in fact operational. As a matter of fact, that call center is going to operate until 8 o'clock this week and next week.
Okay, so
taking calls from customers.
That's 225-5642.
Yes, sir.
225-5642. Call that if you're having some difficulty. That's a call center. But 1608 and 1506, you're going to turn them off, right? Since nobody's answering them. Yeah, that'll be the best thing to do. Yeah, disconnect them until we get that part of it done. We're talking today with the folks from NIB, Raymond Wells, Dr. Raymond Wells, of course. Gerard Elliott is with me as well, and Pandora Butler. They're trying their best to accommodate. So if you have questions, you may want to call us or send me a text, 376-9234 for WhatsApp or text. And you can call us at 325-023516, 325-0242, or 325-0253. You can call us and we'll see how best we can assist you, because we want to make sure that you get paid, and that's beginning to happen now. So what do you say?
Brother McKinney, I just wanted to add to what, or answer one of the queries the gentleman just raised. And he said that there should be a way to alert persons when their claim is processed. I want to say that when you submit your claim, when you update your registration profile to get a new smart card, please provide an email address. Once your claim is approved, the system will automatically send you an email saying to you, Steve McKinney, you've just been approved for a claim. We will process the check at a short date after. Once that check is processed, whether it's a direct deposit or a physical check,
get a notification.
you would get a notification saying that this is what was just processed for you. So that is one way that you could get alerts. The other way is if you sign up to the portal, you would be able to look at your claim status online all the time. It's whenever the claim officer completes your claim, the system, it's real time. So the system will right away inform you or show you that you have a claim that has been completed. And so those are two ways.
The third thing he mentioned was non-payment of contributions by employers. We cannot stress that enough. The mission of national insurance, I said it at the outset, is to pay income replacement benefits to persons when they work, when they're unable to work and earn an income. The only way we're able to do that, though, is through the payment of contributions. Contributions have to be paid. If they're not paid, that's going to hold up a claim, and he referenced it. And it is a good way, is a good point, and I'm glad he raised that. I just want to mention something that's happened this month, July 1st, to be exact. In 2010, you would remember some of the most sweeping changes to the National Insurance Act and regulations were passed. In those were two provisions, two landmark provisions where it allowed for automatic increases in two areas. One area is contributions, the other is benefits. The contributions area is the increase in the contribution ceiling every 2 years. And that was based, or that is based on the Bahamas' retail price index. That has happened on July 1st, and you will see that for the first time at the end of this month. What this means, and I hear some people grousing already, I could almost hear them, NIB is going up again, but that's not really what's happening. It is allowing your high-end earners to ensure more of their earnings. That's what the increase in the ceiling means. And that's happened, and that you will see that at the end of this month. The other thing that's happened is automatically pensions and payment are going to go up, and the grants are going to go up. And so pensions and payment, if they've been in payment for more than 2 years, are automatically going to be increased by 3.1%. That 3.1% represents, as I just said, the Bahamas Retail Price Index, the increases over the previous 2 years. And so people who've had it for 2 years or more will get the 3.1, and then it'll be varying or decreasing percentages the shorter period of time you've had it. So that's going to take effect. And then we're going to have increases, and that one, the increase to the pensions and payment, you will see that in October of this year. You will see it. It's approved, scheduled. It'll be retroactive to this month, but it'll be paid in October. But good news is in payment already are the increased grants. So if you have a baby and we're paying you your maternity grant, that's your one-time payment gift for baby is what the Act and Regulations calls it, it has moved already from $465 to $480. That's already happening. They're already enjoying that. Funeral benefit, which was $1,720, has been increased. We're already having that to $1,780. So these are the increases that have already taken place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sounds like you got to come back here to just talk about those in particular, because that's good news. And that's one of the things NIB, it always pride itself on making sure that they made public notices.
Yes.
Even if a telephone number was down, they put out a bulletin.
Yes.
You've got to return to that, because you can see this is a savvy technological group of behemoths these days. The smartphones and all that, they want to know instantly what is happening. But radio is always your best bet to make sure that these announcements are on the radio.
That's a plug,
I'm hinting to you all to make sure that, and I'm seeing that some people who are familiar with this kind of stuff are back in place, and that's a good thing. And that's why I miss you too. That's my response to you. I miss you. I miss you too. All right, let's take some more calls. Hard copy, how are you? Hi there. Okay, still on the line. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Steve.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
Good, good.
I'd like to ask 2 questions.
Sure, go ahead.
The drug pension plan. I was trying to get some. I went in there a couple of months ago, and I bring a letter from the doctor to get a doctor plan, and they say I can't get a doctor plan until I get a first check from National Insurance. Is that true?
Now,
No.
what are you talking? Let's understand. You said drug pension plan. Are you talking about the drug plan, and you want to get on the prescription plan,
disease,
chronic diseases?
prescription
Are you
drug
saying
plan.
that?
Beg your pardon?
Are you talking about getting prescriptions free of charge under the drug plan?
Yes, They say I can't get it until I get the first check from
Who's
National
the
Insurance.
they?
Is that true?
Who's the they?
Huh?
Who's they? Who they said that the pharmacies?
Somebody told me that I was in there with a letter from my doctor.
Have you gotten your prescription card yet?
No, ma'am.
Are you a pension? Listen, let me just explain this.
No,
Let
I
me-
don't. No, I'm not a.
Okay, I got you. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about there are certain specific groups of persons who qualify to be part of the drug plan.
What do you mean qualify?
Qualify. Not everybody in the Bahamas is a member of the drug plan.
Yeah.
You have to fit a description. For example, I'm not a member of the drug plan. I don't qualify. But there are certain groups of people. And it sounds like have you applied for a pension from NIB?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, that's one of the categories. You have to be a pensioner, or you have to be a NIB invalid, or you have to be a child, pregnant, lactating mothers, those kinds of things. If you don't fit any of those groups, you don't qualify. Like me, I don't qualify. So once you're accepted and it is confirmed that you will be in receipt of a pension, you are then a NIB pensioner. You will then qualify, you will get your card, and you can go to any pharmacy and get your medication, or any participating pharmacy and get your medication. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand you.
Okay.
Now, these numbers you're giving out, you call these numbers you're giving out, you call there. Nobody don't want to. You put in 0 to get the operator. The operator don't even answer.
Yeah, we already dealt with that. What to do? There's another number that you can call.
But I just wanted to straighten that up. So when I call again, somebody will answer.
Well, let me give you my number. In case you call them and you don't get through, call me 502-1737.
502
1737.
1737. Okay.
All right, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay.
And, Brother McKinney, I think it's important to also know that anybody who has any questions or queries as related to the drug plan, we have a website up that gives that has very good information on who is eligible. It's www.nibdrugplan.com. That's www.nibdrugplan.com.
Now, I appreciate that, but there are a number of people in our society who do not have access to an email or a computer, all those kinds of things. Is there anything else that those who may not be in that position to go online and go on the website, how else can they get information? Is there any paraphernalia? Is there any kind of pamphlets that you have that you're, and they are available all around the
All
place?
local offices, even the pharmacies would have those.
Okay, so people who don't have that access to computer could go into a
Yes.
pharmacy and
Or
or
local
close to
office,
NIB
yes.
local office and get them. Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. Let me take these 2 calls before the break. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'd like to ask Ms. Butler this question. If I applied in December of this year, right, for retirement benefits, and I understand the situation now that you probably wouldn't be getting any type of retirement benefit probably until July, August, or whatever. My question is that why is it that if I have high blood pressure, my doctor fills out the necessary papers I taken into NIB, but they said they cannot process that because I am in the system being prepared to receive a retirement benefit. I couldn't understand. They would not accept my application from my doctor, the doctor that has filled out the necessary forms.
Okay, let me see if I can understand what you just said. If you submit your claim, I think you said December 2016, but you would have, are you talking about December past, 2015? Or are you saying hypothetically if you submitted the end of this year? What are you saying?
I can't hear you, ma'am.
what are you saying? You've submitted your claim December 2015, or you?
Right, 2016. That is correct.
Oh, you haven't submitted it yet.
I have ready after we came there in December, applied for retirement.
Okay.
My age changes in March, and they told me we went back there. We came back there in February, I think it was.
Okay.
After seeing the doctor. And they passed, they filled out the necessary forms. They checked me out. I had high blood pressure.
Okay.
And they told me that I cannot receive anything until after I start receiving my retirement benefit.
This goes to the same issue that the lady had earlier. One question for you, though. So how old are you?
I am 69.
Oh, well, you don't have to qualify as a NIB pensioner. You just qualify as a senior citizen. So,
pardon me?
Your ability to be a member of the drug plan does not any longer hinge on whether or not you get a pension from NIB. You're now a senior citizen. So do me a favor, call me. Oh, even better yet, Mr. Elliott said, please come and see him.
Yeah.
So you have no issues. You're a senior citizen. You're Bahamian.
I'm a Bahamian, yes. I'm a Bahamian.
Let's make sure. So you're a Bahamian. You're a senior citizen. So you will qualify. So Mr. Elliott, his number is 502 1598. Call him and you'll be sorted out.
502
1598. You'll be sorted out.
Come again, Ms. Butler. 502
1598.
1598?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me ask another question. If I have a friend that's receiving retirement benefit now, and they are 71. They got it since they received a retirement benefit from let's say 9 years ago. Do they qualify for pension along with that?
That is a pension.
Pardon me?
That is a pension. A pension is simply, sometimes people confuse pensions. I'm going to tell you, I think I know what you're talking about. But once you get a retirement benefit or an invalidity benefit and you get it every month, that's a pension. Now, if you're asking me if in addition to his retirement, can he now qualify for old age pension?
Right.
The answer is absolutely not. Old age pension is only given where you do not qualify for retirement and you're able to prove that you're needy as prescribed by our test of resources.
That's fair enough.
So the answer is no.
All right, Ms. Butler, we'll probably give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, darling.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, that was clear. Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, a very pleasant good evening to you, Brother McKinney.
Thank you. Yeah, you have a question? Yeah, you have a question for the panel. Go ahead, please.
I certainly do. Good afternoon to your panel.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Like a lot of other persons that are waiting for their benefits, etc. This is really, really frustrating because I'm an individual who has a very pressing issue like other persons. I have advanced glaucoma. I came into the office on last year, October, to register and to see if I qualify. And in December, they had a letter ready for me, and I had to go to see one of their doctors. And the report was that I qualified because I have advanced glaucoma. I see out of one of my eyes. And ever since then, they said that it would take 4 weeks to get the doctor's report. And the report was submitted to NIB around the latter part of January. Ever since, I'm a patient person, very patient. I've been medically boarded. I can't work because I fall down in the street and I don't drive anymore. And I don't want to call names and cause persons to get in problem, but I spoke with somebody in the area where they deal with the disabilities. I mean, I don't remember the name of the payment, but anyway, there's somebody in the department who told me that either last week I would have been sorted out. I've been giving them time because I know they're under a lot of pressure, and I want to be humane about it. But here it is now. I'm unemployed, and I'm living on $15 a week because I'm a church member and I participate in a church function. And, I have no one else to give me nothing.
Okay,
I'm actually homeless.
Okay, sir, let's talk for a minute, eh? Let me ask you one or two questions. You What you described sounds like invalidity. Now, what I need to determine is, have you paid contributions? The contributions accounted for?
Well, I previously worked at Ministry of Work for a number of years.
Like how many?
Over 17 years, and I've been always paying contributions.
Good. All right, so now we're talking about invalidity benefit. Now we're talking about invalidity benefit. And so if we're talking about invalidity benefit, and this speaks to the process, and I'm glad you asked this as well, so that the people out there understands that there's a process for every benefit, and the process varies for each benefit. You've already talked about seeing a medical referee. NIB sent you to a doctor, and NIB told you it'll take about 4 weeks to get that report back. Now, I can't speak specifically to your case. Sometimes it may take a little longer to get the report back. I don't know. But if you've already gone through that process, it's just a matter of getting your initial payment sorted out. Simply call us. Mr. Elliott has already given out his number. I'm going to give it to you again. You don't even have to call on the weekend or call NIB. You can call Mr. Elliott. He's in charge of that area, 502-1598. Call him and we will sort you out.
Okay, I want to ask one more question, please.
Yes.
Because the process, I understand about, you're speaking about the process,
right?
But this has been almost 10 months now.
Right.
You know, and I'm still in dire straits waiting for them to sort me out. This is the only source of income that I'm depending on. It's very frustrating. Sometimes I don't even call them because the girl that sits in the office there, she just goes to the computer, give me a number, guy ready, you know?
Yeah, we understand.
Not even remorseful of my condition, you know?
We
and
understand.
I had to find a phone to call in the first place.
We understand,
So
and that's why.
I don't hardly go nowhere because I don't see too well. I only see one with one eye.
Okay, that's.
And, I mean, they said I would have been sorted out from March.
Okay, we understand. That's why I'm giving you this number. Call the assistant director. We will sort you out.
What is the number again? 502-1598.
Yes.
Or even better, so what you could do off air, I can take your number and I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Come back, sir.
I say off air, you can give me your number and I will call you tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
So how's he gonna?
Thank you very kindly.
Hold on a second. Don't hang up yet. Let me put you on hold so you can give Odia, that's who's working the board. She'll get your number and your name, and Mr. Elliott will call you. Okay?
Very kindly.
So don't hang up. Just stay right there. I'll just put you on
Just
hold.
saying thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Odia, get that call on line 3, please. Thank you very much. I see you've gotten it. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Can you hear me, Mr. McKinney?
Yes, I can hear you now, darling.
Oh, good. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your guest.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Evening.
And I am so happy that you have national insurance on. If I can only just speak about the customer service. Ms. Butler, I'm always very pleased. As a matter of fact, I know her, but she wouldn't know who I am now. But I'm very pleased that the way she, speaks so positively about national insurance, and she seems to be a very professional woman. Yes. But what needs to happen? That same attitude needs to be given to the frontline staff, because and this is every year we go through this. We have to get a letter of good standing for my mom, and she lives on one of the other islands, but she went into national insurance once, and she said to me she can't do it. The attitude is so poor, and the people were so rude. So she said, please, on this end, to deal with that. Listen, the attitude is just horrendous. There are people walking about, then you'll leave your application into the cash. Oh, check on a few days later. You check back. They can't even find your application. After 6 weeks, and after each time I get there, somebody, man, I'm going to check it for you. 6 weeks. The last time I threatened to go upstairs to the executive office, and somebody made a call. They said, please, we promise you it's going to be ready in 2 days. And that's after 6 weeks going almost every week. You only have an hour for lunch. But I think the persons there, they have no regard for people's time, as if they are doing you a favor. Yes, we need the information, the certificate, you need to check the payment. But there's no reason that people should be treated as if, just sit down and wait, as if people are not important. Some people are already embarrassed because, they probably have to come and get these certain payments. But the attitude is just so poor, as if people are beneath them. And nobody cares. And mind you, there's a lot of staff. Everybody's walking about, but you cannot get served. And I'm not really talking about me one. Like I say, I do this every year, and every year it's the same thing. And you meet the people complaining, sitting in that the area, they're all everywhere. They're just complaining. I'm just saying, it is just simply horrendous, the customer service. Terrible, terrible, below standard. I don't even know how else to grade to below a 0. And I'm talking about, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of all the other persons that might be hearing my voice and who may have had the experience. It is simply below standard, the customer service, and you have no regard for you. And I'm not talking about you, Ms. Butler, because I can see that you're very professional from the way you carry yourself on the phone. Like I said, but that attitude must be passed on to the other people and let them know they're not doing us a favor because we're paying them their salary. Right. But the customer service, it's just below standard, nothing. And Grand Bahama also, because like I say, that is where my mom went, and she said she will not go back again because she has a little business. She will not go back. She'll just do it out the business because it is poor. And she said she can't take enough pressure pills to deal with those persons.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm just very, very
Thank you
sorry
for
that
your
your
call.
experience has been so poor that we've not met your expectations. If you know me and you say you have some idea of me, I just want to say I'm not alone. There are so many of my colleagues back at NIB, and I'm saying this, I'm not trying to just gloss it over. I'm telling you from my heart. There are so many of my colleagues back at NIB, back at headquarters around the islands who have the interest, the best interest of the customers at heart. I can tell you that. There are people, and everywhere I go, I hear people who say, oh, the people at NIB are so helpful. Seriously, I hear it wherever I go, how this one bent over backwards to help me. And I know that that's some people's experience. Sadly, sometimes, you don't always hear the good part. But we apologize. We apologize whenever our service does not measure up to our standards, because our standards are high and we want to serve people with excellence. And so I can tell you we're working right now. Assiduously is a word they've been throwing around back at work recently, but we're really working hard to ensure a consistent customer experience from office to office, from island to island. We're working on that. I can tell you I've been to several of the islands already in this effort. We're going to continue in New Providence, and so we're doing it. We recognize that there are some issues and we're working very hard. Now, as for that letter of good standing, there's another innovation we have where you can apply online, or you can send back, you can shoot that form. The form is online as well, where you can send that form in. So there's really no real need to come in to submit the claim. So you can submit the claim. I know many of the people I know have submitted it online. Now, I know that in another rollout, Dr. Wells, you'll be able to get the letter back, I think.
Right away.
Right away, you'll be able to get it so your mother doesn't need her pressure pills. She ain't gonna need to deal with anybody if that's been her experience. So very soon, these are some things that are gonna be happening. So we know, we're working on it, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
She said that her mom was from Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama.
I got several text messages today. Grand Bahama saying, please, Mr. Minister, look out for the people in Grand Bahama because they haven't been paid monies in 6 months. Is what Grand Bahama is reporting here today on text to me. I don't know if you know about that, but this is a plea for the people in Grand Bahama for pensioners, especially to be paid. They haven't been paid in 6 months, is what the person
But remember what we've been saying, Steve,
Yeah.
it's not limited or specific to New Providence.
Yeah.
We're talking about around the islands.
Yeah.
Because everything in the queue, all those numbers we reference are for everybody. So Grand Bahama is a part of the good news that we're going to resolve this.
Okay.
Steve, I would just like to reiterate what Penny has just said and eloquently, by the way. We are here to serve our customers. The NIB registrants, the NIB claimants are our customers. We're not doing them any favors. All right. We are here to serve you. All right. We subscribe to that verse in Matthew chapter 25, verse 40, where what you do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do for me. And so we subscribe to that wholeheartedly. And so we're not doing you any favors, any issues, you please raise it. If there are any issues you have, please
there.
let us know.
Hard copy, how are you? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please. Is somebody there? Okay, all right. I guess not. Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, good day. How you doing?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, all is well, sir. Go right ahead with your question.
Yes, great, man. I just wanted to call in. I know, oftentimes when you do these shows, you get the bad end of the stick. But my mother, she's an invalid. She's been receiving her benefits and I just wanted to testify to a lot about what Mrs. Butler has been claiming. I did receive an email. It was a pleasant surprise that the benefits were on the account, even though she didn't meet her verification date, and her payments were still being received. And I just really and truly wanted to extend my gratitude to you guys for the work that you're doing. On a question level, I'm really concerned. You know, NIB being the safety net of the nation. I'm concerned about what's happening at the top level. You know, there's been a lot of changes. You know, we've heard reports about a lot of political interference, not only in your organization, but in many of the organizations that the government has their hands in. I'm trying to get a feel for, you know, you're doing a lot of overtime. That has to be a strain on the budget. Tell us a little bit about the security of the organization and how it's being run from top level, and help me to understand whether we should still be confident inside your department.
Thanks for your question. Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay, Mr. Dr. Wells will speak to that.
You know, I would start by saying NIB at this point has a captain. Right? NIB is not without a captain. We have an acting director at this moment. And so,
is that Cecile? Who's the acting director?
Veronica Teresa Burrows.
Okay, all right. Veronica Teresa Burrows. Yes, I know her. Yeah.
So, you know, and Pandora would have indicated earlier that, you know, we at NIB are focused on serving our public. We know our jobs, and we're not caught up in the
that's
the part politics, of it. Brother McKinney, that you mentioned is way over our head.
Yeah, that's about the pay grade.
I could assure the gentleman and all other persons who have a concern, the NIB has no issues at all with paying its claimants. None at all.
And that's what we're talking about. Steve, please ask Mrs. Butler if they penalize employers like they penalize employees when they don't make the contributions. This person says, my spouse is an employee at a particular place, a hotel, and no contributions were made from September last year. Yes, my spouse is still employed. Are they going after these kinds of employers?
Okay, let me just answer the penalize the employers as we penalize employees. We do not penalize employees. Now, if he's saying if the contributions aren't paid, then that will hold up or delay the processing of the claim, then that's absolutely true. But we don't penalize employees. Where the contributions were payable, they're able to prove that they're payable, we credit them with contributions, so there's no penalty to the employee. Do we penalize the employers? Absolutely. Now, the penalty may not be harsh enough, and so you may see us having some amendments done at some point to increase the penalties, because I tell you, if you're late with your contributions, there's a little interest assessed. It's not enough. It's perhaps not enough. Let me just say it's perhaps not enough. But we do penalize them. And two, if they continue to be in arrears or continue to non-comply, then we could prosecute them. And then there are some penalties for prosecution, even some fines and even some jail time. So yes, we do penalize them, but we depend on the employees in big measure. What do I mean by that? NIB is, we have police, so to speak. We have the inspectors. The inspector's role is to ensure compliance. But sometimes, you know, an employer, ABC Widget Company, for example, may pay us for 70 persons, but he may have 75. How do we know he has 75? Sometimes it may slip through the cracks. Those people need to let us know. They're supposed to check to make sure their contributions are being paid. When they check their contribution statements, and they're available to everybody, when they check that and they see that there are gaps, they're supposed to let us know. They have to partner with us in securing their economic future. And I always say, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say it again, we're all responsible. We're responsible. We can't leave it to NIB alone. NIB needs us to partner with them. Or NIB needs you to partner with us so that we are assured that your contributions are paid.
We've got all kinds of text messages, WhatsApp. We're going to post these. You can take a look at the Facebook page of Hard Copy because there are many, but I'll read these two here for you. Just for your interest, this person says, late payment from NIB. We do not get interest, but when we make our payments one day late, we have to pay NIB interest. Very great hardship. Or with very great hardship on small businesses that are trying to keep their payment up to date. Then the person goes on to say, Maine post office for payments closed down. Can they set up a Shirley Street to accept the payments? Maine post office, they say, is shut down for payments. Can they set up an account over at the Shirley Street for payments?
Yes, Dave, due to the renovation of the general post office, NIB has transferred that service to the Treasury building. So we are currently...
You're still on the same way, right on East Street?
East Street in the Treasury building. So persons can go in and make payments at the... We have a vendor at the Treasury department.
So this is a secret. All right, so the Treasury building. Final call today. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon to your guest.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Butler.
Mrs. Butler.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a joy to hear your voice, but from I retired in 1996, it was a joy to me going in NIB from my first day. Everybody in NIB I know, and they all are my friends. So
yes,
when you run into difficulties, sometimes you got to look at your own self to see if it's you. And the people asked when I went to verify, I said, let me go around and see what they're saying, but this medical, this something that you could get free medicine or whatever. And before I opened my mouth, the lady said, no, Miss Bullard, this is for you. I said, no, take it. I want nothing free and nothing wrong with me. So, you know, and some people are going to talk and have their problem and situation. But, you know, some of us, when we go in places and we display our sting attitude, then we pass it on. But it's a joy for me to come and NIB. Anytime I come to verify, the gentleman who's beautiful, just he see me. He just said, Miss Bullard, just go. They even know my name, Mission I ain't tell them, but everybody in NIB is my friend. So you all enjoy yourself and do what you're supposed to do, okay?
Thank you, Ms. Bullard.
very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Bullard, yeah, Ms. Bullard, she's a dear heart and a wonderful lady. And she'll pray to make sure that all things are well. She does it every day for Hard Copy. But listen, Pandora Butler and, of course, Dr. Raymond Wells and Gerard Elliott, I want to thank you. And there's so many things that we haven't touched. But the good thing is that we know that payments are being made. We know there's some small glitches that are being worked out, and we know that by mid-July, which is next week, there are some payments that are to be made. We know that some long-term benefit payments are there outstanding that will be dealt with as they're being dealt with now. We know that the V3 system is operational, it's working, but at the same time, we are allowing for glitches to be sorted out as they appear. But there's confidence, is what you're telling me, Dr.
Certainly.
Wells. There's confidence that things are getting better and that people are being processed and paid. And of course, we also know that out of 36,000 pensioners, 35,000 just received checks in June, and more will be receiving checks. We know that $8.5 million on 1,500 payments have been made. That accumulates about 9,000 individuals who are beneficiaries. And so some things are happening now. We see today that people have a lot of issues with other areas of NIB, which means that there's a lot of work to be done in setting the record straight and telling people where to go for certain payments and telling people.
Let me jump right in. Let me jump.
Yeah.
I got to jump right in just to show you the measure of the people who work back at NIB. There's a person who had an issue earlier talking about industrial. He's waiting for something that invalidity. One of my colleagues just texted me his number. Say, tell him call me right now. Tell him call me. 502-1555 to that gentleman. Call my colleague, Shane Albury.
Yeah.
And he will sort you. That's the kind of people who work at NIB.
Is that the guy with the glaucoma?
I think
was
it
the guy,
might be.
yeah.
I think it might be, yes. But that's, and if you have any issues that are like that, you can call him. He's
So
part
that
of the
number again. He can call Shane.
502-1555 Shane Albury.
Shane Albury, yeah.
People are back at NIB listening, saying people can call us. Working. Working.
Super. So where do we go from here now?
Brother McKinney, before you close, I just wanna send out a charge to our customers. You know, we appreciate the patience, understanding, and cooperation to those customers we serve every single day. We understand that it is difficult whenever payments are late. We recognize the need. But I want our customers, the Bahamian public, to know that to be assured that we are working hard to address all of our challenges. And this is not since the V3 system was rolled out. This was for the last 41 years.
Yes.
We've always been committed to that.
Okay, fantastic. Now, let me just give you all some numbers, and I want you to write these down, Hard Copy Nation. wherever you are. If you missed most of the show, it will come back on later on. But the thing is, these are some numbers that you can write down and direct contact some people directly. 225-5642. That's a call center. 225-5642. Call it. You will be served. Someone will answer the phone. Another number that you can call is a number directly to Penny, they call her, but her name is Pandora Butler. Very likable, very helpful, very direct, and she knows the NIB rules and regulations like some of you know the Bible. She can quote passages just like that without looking at paper. She knows what she's doing. You want to call her. Here's the number to call Penny. 502-1737. 502-1737. You can also call my brother here, who is, of course, Gerard Elliott, and he wants to help. He's the assistant director. He has his hands on the New Providence operation. Here's how you can get Mr. Elliott for great assistance. 502-1598. 502-1598. Now, hard copy is giving you some key numbers. Don't lose them. You got the direct numbers right to the people who I have here today. Them other numbers that you've been calling that keep ringing bad, scotch them off. They're going to turn them off. They're not supposed to be on. They don't work. Don't call them. I'm not going to even repeat them. Leave those numbers alone and call 225-5642, 502-1598, or 502-1737. There are enough numbers for you to have today, just in case you want to make inquiries. And, remember now, good attitude also sparks a good attitude right back. So that's how it works. And for those persons who have been, I suppose, spoken about today on the show about not having the best attitude, you should adopt a new attitude and try your best to serve people. They are customers. They are desperate for their monies in many cases and needful of their monies. And not only that, that's who we work for. Yeah. Do your job. Yeah. I always tell you that every day. Do your job, because I'm going to do mine. And if you don't do your job and your name comes across the hard copy counter, don't blame me if I call your name if the people say you haven't done your job. Yes. Because that's what we are, equal opportunity providers. And so we thank Mrs. Butler today, Mr. Elliott, and of course, Dr. Wells today for coming, because it's important to face the music. Yes. Sometimes it may get hot, the frying pan may get hot, but stick in the frying pan and do your thing. Otherwise, you can jump out of the frying pan into the fire if you try to duck the issue. Okay. And I'm proud that you haven't. You've lived up to it. We wish NIB the very best. And certainly give my regards to all the folks down there who are doing their job to keep things together.
Yes, I would just like to further advise that to serve our customers, what we have done, I think we commenced this week, we have extended our hours of operation. Mm-hmm. So at headquarters, customers who wish to be serviced, have queries, concerns, can visit us until 8 p.m. every evening, and on Saturday between 10 and 1. So we've extended those hours. The call center hours, the number I quoted earlier, the call center will be open. The hours will be extended until 8 p.m. every evening and 10 to 1 on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So we encourage our customers to call us if you have a problem. Call us if you have a concern. We're here to serve you. NIB is still commissioned to serve.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just to build on that, the person about the Freeport one who said they haven't been paid for 6 months, anybody who have long-standing claims, 6 months, 7 months, whatever the case is, we're asking you in particular to call us so that we can resolve those issues. And we will resolve those issues.
All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Steve.
I think we're going to call it our show for the night. Tomorrow on the show, we've got Big Mo. Maurice Moore is coming in because there are some politics that must be talked about. You know what's happening, right? And tomorrow as well, Dr. Menace and his crew goes across to Christie Park. And I think I got a little text there. Let me just be fair and see if I can find that and tell you where the others are going. Let's see. Where's that text? Where's that text? Oh, okay, here it is. Now, what does the text say? Rally in the square. I guess Loretta Butler is going in the square. Join Loretta Butler Turner and Dwayne Sands as they officially launch their campaign. Rawson Square, 6th of July. in the square. So that's where they're going. One's gone to Bay Street in the square, and the leader's gone over the hill in Christie Park. Both at 7 o'clock, okay? Let me see. Let me make sure. Yes, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll be keeping an eye on. Maurice Mordo comes in from Grand Bahama. He's going to be talking with me tomorrow on the show at 5 o'clock. And we're looking forward to that because that's all about that sweet bit of politics, which you all love, but sometimes can be bittersweet. We'll see what happens. Let's go home, Nate. Our show tonight has been brought to you by the People's Movement, Rocking with Dr. Christie Park, NIB Straight Talk, you got it today, the Committee to Re-elect Dr. Hubert Minnis, Caribbean Health Medical Laboratory, 59 Montrose Avenue, Bahamian Beer and Beverages, Cyber Tech, Career College, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Clean Insurance, Super Wash, Bank of the Bahamas, Super Value, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, Ron's Electric Motors, Sky Bahamas, Seafowl, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, Buddy's Wings and Greens, McKinney Media Group, and all the wonderful people who make it happen every day. We thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow with Maurice Small, God willing, at 5 o'clock. Remember now, if it's 5 o'clock, it's hot copy. The night show's been produced by one Nathan Rowe. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing.
This is Peace Radio After Dark.